Welcome back to Fitness Manifesto. I am one of your hosts, Kim, and joining me is
Justin. Welcome to this new show that we've started, which focuses on life, awesomeness, friendship, and fitness as a whole. My cousin got a African star tortoise or something, and got them at the store when they were this big. And as they grew, they're like Galapagos turtles. They get to be like well over 200 pounds. They're gigantic beasts. Probably 5 years in, it was so big you couldn't keep it in his backyard anymore. So he gave it to his dad, and it burrowed under their house, and it lives there now. And they can't get it out because they've done like a camera to go underneath to see how far. It's like the centered under their house, and it's like a whole den. They have this whole thing under there, and I'm like, how do you resell a house with a creature living underneath the foundation?
I was gonna say, does it harm the foundation with all the dirt and stuff? Not.
Oh, it can't be good. It can't. There's no way that's good for the foundation, and it's huge. It's like a
interesting.
Den.
How much does that turtle weigh, you think?
I'll see if I can get a picture from my uncle, but it's huge. They have two of them. I mean, they're gigantic. If anyone looks them up, I mean, they're probably 3 feet wide and 4 feet long plus a head. I mean, they're huge.
Where do they live?
The turtles or the people?
Where does the turtle live?
Africa, of course. Anything that big is Africa or Galapagos. Yeah.
But he's under the house in Africa.
No, they're from Africa. No, he lives in, I think, Phoenix now, Arizona.
Okay. And what happened to the turtle?
They're still alive that's the problem with these things. National Geographic last month came out with this longest living animal thing, which is really fascinating. And they're on there. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think they live like 250 years. So
they still have the turtle.
Oh, their grandkids are going to have the turtle. Their grandkids are going to have, the turtle. Yeah.
It's in their will.
It's there for the long haul. Yes.
And with that, Justin, how are you?
Kim, I'm fantastic. How are you?
We've talked about a whole bunch of things before even hello.
I apologize for that, but that was invigorating. And I got to tell you, yesterday I was on a meeting with a client, and it was really windy yesterday, and I wasn't paying attention. And we've got a magnolia right over here, and they're in bloom right now. And some of the pollen came over, and I inhaled it, which is so gross.
That's not good.
And I'm just like coughing and everything else. And so I have sympathy for your face right now is all I'm saying.
Oh, I swallowed wrong or something. I don't know.
I hate that.
At least you didn't inhale like a bug. That would have been funny.
At least you get protein with that. I'm terrified what I got with you got
a whole bunch of everything else. Have you seen any possum sitting outside at your house?
Recently? No. We have Bunny that moved in the front yard, but the possum that we used to have, I think, has moved on or died.
We had a possum the other day on the fence, and actually he was in the tree kind of behind it. My dog was having a fit, and I snapped a picture of it, and I'm pretty sure she was pregnant. Like, she barely fit in between the pickets, that they walk in between. She was carrying a wide load.
Or she ate really well. One of the two, right? And
No.
She was about to give birth?
Yeah. She was massive.
Okay. All right. Well, it is spring. It is that time. And so speaking of that time, let's talk about today's subject. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So we went back and forth yesterday talking about this subject, and I made Kim laugh a little bit because I wanted to talk about things that help with pain in general that work and don't work. And she said, let me guess, you have a list. And I said, of course I have a list. And she goes, of course you do.
Justin wouldn't be him without a list. I had to call him whenever he had texted me the idea. And you have a list? He's like, of course I have a list. I'm like, of course you do. Of course you do it.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't be you without it.
No, it's very weird because there's certain things that I'm very anal about. And this is one of those that I'm like.
Certain things? Most things.
All right. Fair enough. I am. Yes. And the irony is I'm not a rule follower. I will break every rule in the book, but I do like to have organization.
I will tell you, I have a beautiful cardinal sitting on my tree right now.
Oh, I love this time of year because everything's migrating through or staying for a while. I love this time of year here because it's like walking out to a zoo.
I need to get my hummingbird feeder out.
That's one thing I've been trying to convince Kelly to get. And she's not a big wildlife person.
I'm shocked you are.
Oh my God. I want a wallaby. I want my own zoo. I love animals so much. I love them. Like, I think.
Says the one who does. You don't even have a dog.
No, and it's killing me. I want one so bad. Riley died right before the pandemic. So 20, I think, like February of 20. And
what kind of dog?
He was a pug.
Oh, he snorted a lot.
All pugs do is snort and fart, and they're the cutest things on earth. Here's some advice for people out there. If you find a French bulldog or a pug or other dogs of that kind of ilk cute, great. If you don't tell them that they're so ugly, they're cute. I hated when people would tell us, they'd be like,
Okay.
they're so ugly, they're cute. And I'm like, I want to be like, you are too, but you're not cute.
Well, you could say that for one, but for two, how did Riley die?
It was weird, actually. So he was 15. I don't really know
You
how.
had him for 15 years?
Yeah, he was a really old pug and he was so cute. He had a gray beard. Oh, it was the cutest thing ever. And like his little black face had turned white. Anyways, we can post some pictures. I've got him. And
You just like blew my mind. You don't
what?
fit the definition of somebody who would like love animals.
I am obsessed. There's a dove about to drink out of our pool right now. And like, I'm fascinated by that. So yes, I love animals.
I will tell you, I got to tell you this. There is a bird that comes back every year to our house and he gets up to our windows and he taps on them.
Okay. That's
every
badass.
year. And now he's back. He just flew up to the window. It's pretty crazy. So sorry, we are all over the place today, other than
the subject we meant to talk about. All right. So let's dive into it.
Maybe this is pain management. Is this what we do?
This is cathartic. This is definitely helping people. Because I have a list, let me kick it off here and then I'm going to pass the ball over to you. So go ahead.
Are you holding the list right now?
No, I thought about printing it out, but I was consumed this morning. So I did not print it out. I do have it and we can post it. I'm happy to share it because it has the data when I tried things and when I didn't. But let's start with kind of things that people swear by that I find do not work for me. Or if they do, they don't have good side effects. So I'm going to start with, let's see here. How about, I don't really want to name it by name. I'm going to see if you can guess it. It's an orange powder that everyone on the planet swears by. It's for anti-inflammatory.
An orange powder?
Yeah, usually taken in pill. It's in every Indian dish on earth that I can think of.
Is it curry?
It's in curry. Yeah, makes curry up.
I'm really bad at this game. What is it?
Well, I'm going to tell you this and see if it pops in your brain real quick. Okay. I'm going to tell you at the end of the show today because you're getting a picture while I talk. So people swear by this and I've been trying it for years off and on. And does it work? I would say it works, but it destroys my lower intestinal tract. I become basically a trumpet after I eat it. And
do you shat yourself?
No, please. I'm just more boisterous and louder than I should be. And
you're like your pug. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought it was a good lead in for this. And I've tried probably 15 brands when I looked at the list, just because there's different ways and you're supposed to take it with black pepper, I think, and other things. And I did it with fat and everything else and all these things to make it work. And yes, I did notice a difference. Like it actually did work for me, but I can't take it because it did not agree with my system per se. And it was so funny because Costco always has it on sale. I'm going to read you on here because I want to see the bottle itself. The allergens are none, okay, but may cause slight intestinal uncomfortableness. That could be a wide range of things. It's turmeric, and this is supposedly, I'm not going to share the brand here because it's not their fault. It's me. Anyways, so I'm going to start with turmeric that I think it could work, but let me just preface it for everyone out there that before you take any sort of supplement, I've never heard anyone really talk about this before because everyone will swear by something and tell you to get it. Go lightly first and try it slowly because your body is used to digesting certain things. And especially, I guess, because I don't eat a lot of curries in my life. Between my Spanish and German blood in my family, we're not a big turmeric family. And my body just does not digest it well.
How would you take it?
Pills.
Just in a pill?
Yeah, I mean, you can probably, I mean, you can add it to almost any dish too. Like you can actually sprinkle it on and stuff. I just did pills because they're more concentrated.
It would mess up your stomach. Like, did you have, I guess, did it give you diarrhea? I mean, when you say
no, just gas, horrible gas.
Just gas. That's it. So, okay. Other than that, did you feel any effects from the inflammatory?
Yeah, actually. So it actually did work. So like, I'm trying to think how to put this in context. If I've got like achy joints or whatever, from like long workouts, I did notice that it would actually lessen the symptoms. It really did.
Okay.
But the consequence of that is not worth it, let's say. So if everyone's out of the house and it's me, sure, I might do that. Okay. But aside from that, no, it doesn't work well.
Okay. So when you would try stuff, would you stay more natural or would you do like medication from a doctor or prescription stuff?
2019, I think it was. I really hurt my back. I was doing something and like it just seized up and it was like is just the most pain I've ever had before. And so I reached out to my dad, who's a pain doctor, and I was like, Dad, listen, I've tried everything over the counter. Nothing seems to be working. And this is before I started going to chiropractors and stretching more and stuff like that. This was kind of like that heyday of not listening to my body. He gave me something which is supposedly a safer version of like Advil.
Blue and white pill?
This was actually yellow and white. But
I've got some of that. Okay.
yeah. And, it's non-steroidal, it's non-addictive, it's none of that kind of stuff. But it was weird because it didn't really seem to do that much for me. And nothing did. The only thing that seemed to help a little bit was it's not prescription and it is natural, but it's like a hybrid is like the capsaicin, like ointment you can put on. So Voltaren, I think is the name of it, is the actual like cream name. And so it went over the counter 3-4 years ago. It used to be prescription, but it has capsaicin, which is like chili pepper, whatever in it. And it does work. Like I've noticed that significantly. That is what I would consider like Western medicine that works really well. Those are the two that I would say of them. Celebrex did nothing. I mean,
it didn't do anything for me either.
That's what I wonder. Like in these studies, people swear by this. I'm like, how does it have zero effect on me? Like zero.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's change gears and ask you. So what have you done? Let's start with something that hasn't worked for you. We've already talked about Celebrex, but something else that you've tried for either pain management or inflammation or both that hasn't delivered on what you thought it was going to deliver on.
Do you want like Western medicine, like prescription, or no?
No, let's go crazy here. I will let you choose. Let's go Western and then let's go Eastern. Go for it.
Okay. Western. I got Botox injections for pain management from my MS. Actually, I'll back that up. I did trigger point injections on my back because of the pain that I got an attack all right here in my neck and in my shoulder. So we did trigger point injections and they draw like a triangle on your back. And my husband was there when I got it done. And he's like, man, they have an ultrasound machine there and they're digging the needle in. And he goes, it made me sick to my stomach. It was something. Well, those didn't do hardly anything for me. So they recommended Botox injections. It was the worst thing I've ever done is the Botox injections for pain. And people swear by them. I did 2 rounds.
Just real quick, how far were the rounds apart? Like when you went, was it months? Was it weeks? Like how soon?
It was months. Okay. I think it was every 3 months.
Okay.
And so I went in the first time and it makes everything so heavy and I couldn't like turn my head around. So whenever me and my daughter would bike to school, I couldn't turn around to like see her behind me because it was just you're frozen. I was like, okay, I'm going to try it again. I did it again. And there was too much that got put in like my neck area. And so my neck kept falling.
Because it was so weak.
Well, yeah, because with the muscles and too much was in there and it was the worst thing ever. And I was coming up on me getting my 3rd round. And I told Ted, I said, I can't. It didn't help with my pain. If anything, it made me more miserable.
Wow.
At my new MS doctor, they're like, they don't even recommend that for pain management for people with MS anymore.
See, that's one of the things that I get frustrated with because I think there's a lot of good in Western medicine, but I also get really frustrated because there's a lot of stuff out there that, especially in Eastern medicine, they've been using for thousands of years, right? Like acupuncture, acupressure, all like stuff that has proven without a sign, like it works on everyone.
Right.
Like, there's no downside here. It's funny to me that they'll hope that something works, keep trying it, and especially like in your situation, you don't want to try something; you want it to be effective. And I think it's very funny that a lot of these things that we come up with as solutions are Band-Aids and not solutions.
Well, and even with like the Botox, you have to let it work its way out of your system. You can't just stop taking it. You have to let it wear off.
It's crazy.
It was terrible, like terrible. Okay, I got a question for you. Have you ever heard of something called kratom?
No, what is it?
It is from a plant. People would use it for pain. But it's also, like they say, it's like an opioid.
Okay.
And Ted, when he hurt his back, he had heard about it. And it just so happens you can buy it. So Ted went and got some. And it's like dark green, like matcha tea, which is first, no thanks. And so you mix it up with water. And nothing like drinking weeds. He looked into it for people with MS and he wanted me to try it. And it was the grossest tasting stuff ever. So he was taking it for his back. Well, it did work for pain, but he got addicted to it. How
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
He left, and it doesn't make you, you know how with opioids, you'll start spinning and your body constantly wants more and more. It doesn't do that. But he had left to travel for work, and he had been taking it for his back. And whenever he got to this hotel, he started having panic attacks because he didn't take it with him. And so he went to like the emergency room there. My phone was on silent. I was doing something and forgot to put it back on sound. So I woke up in the morning to like 1,001 text messages, multiple phone calls, text messages saying I'm in the emergency room. And I was like, what is going on? So I called him and he's like, I thought I was having a heart attack. And then whenever he was driving home, he put it together. And he's like, no, he got home and he threw it away.
So
it was pretty crazy.
That's insane, but I think that's a really good what was the name again? What was it?
Kratom.
Kratom. Okay. So I think there's also a good lesson out there too, is that you need to be careful with this stuff, right? There is too much of a good thing. There is all these things. You can't just go take this. Like I remember one time we were in Fiji and my brother and we went to this kava ceremony, which is basically like this root they ground up, but it's like they put it in water and it's like gray. It's like very gray and it really doesn't have a taste, but it's like gritty kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it makes your tongue go numb. And it's not a hallucinogen, but it's like a muscle relaxer, all that kind of stuff. It's like all in one. And yeah, you feel great on it. And I've never noticed a side effect. I've done it like 3 or 4 times in Fiji as like part of their rituals and stuff like that. And yes, I have a great time on it. But I can see easily like if you abuse that, like, it could be bad. But it's weird because like, especially in ceremonies like that, they don't tell you it. They just like, hey, or drink this. You're like, okay, when in Rome, and you drink it, and then they keep passing it around and around and around. Like the first time, it just tastes weird, and then pretty quick, like within a minute or so, your tongue goes numb. Like you can feel it.
Interesting.
Like you can feel it. Like you can talk, you can do everything, but like it still feels numb. I don't know how else to describe it. It's the weirdest feeling.
Is it like a tingling feeling? Like when you put your foot to sleep or something?
No, because that's like uncomfortable feeling. This is more like you can bite it and you don't really feel it, but you still have control over it, so you can talk normally.
Okay. Weird.
It is weird.
Weird. In different cultures and stuff, they use stuff like that on a regular basis. Just like this kratom, it's like a plant that grows naturally.
But again, I think they probably use it like in specific times for specific reasons with monitoring and stuff like that. And I think that is where we get lost on things. I mean, one of the things I was going to talk about today is cupping. I actually have tried it once earlier this year, and I've never done it before. And I went to a place and did it, and people swear by cupping. Like this is one of those things that every athlete, everyone I've ever talked to swears by it. The science seems pretty decent. So I tried it. It was fine. Because again, maybe because my expectation was so high, like, oh man, I'm sore here. It's going to draw all that out of it. It's going to disperse the blood and I'm going to feel great after it. And instead I got like 10 hickeys. I think the other side of this coin is that you need to have moderate expectations, because when everyone's swearing by something, I found, and I'd love to get your take on this, but like I found like when people swear by things, this is what you have to do. My expectation goes up so high that it doesn't meet the expectation because I'm so excited to do it. Does that make any sense?
Okay. But I will tell you, cupping works for me with my shoulder where I had that MS attack. My massage therapist used to cup my shoulder all the time. It was incredible.
Do you self-cup anymore?
You know, it's funny because I thought about purchasing them, and Ted's like, no, if you put that like on a vein or in the wrong spot, you could really hurt yourself. And I was like, so she would do it all on my back and on definitely my shoulder and my shoulder blade. It helped my shoulder so much, especially like wearing sports bras and stuff right here. And if you've ever noticed, my shoulders are uneven because of it.
A little bit. Like it's not like, you're like way off, but you can tell it's a little bit different.
But you can tell like if it's bothering me or if I'm not stretched out fully, because this shoulder drops way down.
See, that's crazy. And see, that's the kind of result I was hoping for. And maybe I need to try it again. But like for me, one thing that I swear by to this day that I think is so important and so underrated. It's so funny. So many athletic friends that I have don't do this enough. And what I'm talking about is stretching. Until I went to this last chiropractor, I didn't really consider the fact, I get that there's pull and push in the system, right? Because in order for you to stand up, there has to be something pulling and something relaxed so that you can align yourself. And until I really put it in perspective. Okay, so if I'm feeling it in the back, it's probably because something else is tight, and then balancing all that stuff out and stretching in new ways and everything, that has changed my life forever.
I stretch all the time. I always have.
You've
And
always been good at that.
I'm crazy flexible. Knowing how to stretch and what you need to do in order to stretch this out is so important.
And I think it's also the fact that, like, I hinted at it briefly, but I want to talk about it a little bit further, is that the balancing effect of it. So, like, if you're having back pain, it's not just stretching your back, it's stretching your legs, it's stretching your core, it's doing all these things
Yep.
to give that holistic approach to everything. And I think that's where the biggest gain that I've gotten in probably the last like 5 to 10 years is not actually through a lot of supplements. Right? Like, some things definitely help, but most of it has been through not just exercise, but like stretching and doing that kind of stuff to build up the right muscle groups and to stretch them enough and getting mobile. One thing I noticed,
Yes.
especially since the pandemic, was moving. Because before, I was traveling all the time and I was on planes for a long time and I was sitting in conferences, all that kind of stuff. And since then, I've been moving a ton more, and gigantic difference.
Well, and it's crazy because, like, in your hips and everything, there's all the muscles that come together and will ball up and get tight. So if you're hurting in a couple different areas, you've got to stretch it out, loosen it up, because it connects to so many different places.
Absolutely. So one thing that I know that we both love, I don't know what you call them, like massage guns or whatever they are, that you can change the tips on and stuff. Those have also been a game changer. Like,
Do you use the tip that has the pointy edge?
I only use 2 realistically, because mine came with 4. I've got like a big ball one that's kind of like a larger ball. I've got a flat surface one. I've got a 2-prong thing. And I've got the one that you're talking about that looks like
It's like the cone.
yeah, that is my favorite. That is
Where do you use it?
because of my hips and my back. That's where I use it the most. So I will go in and target it and basically put it, like, I've got 3 different levels on there. I'll turn up to 3 and push it in those spots. And the other thing I'll do is, when, for instance, today, like, my calves are crazy tight. I don't know what the heck I did, but they're really tight. I will go in and strategically, after I've foam rolled, is use it on those spots that are still tight. And
Okay.
I mean, that is, now I can't, it vibrates too much. I'd love to be able to use it on my neck up here, but it's too strong of a vibration. I feel like my head's going to, like, feel like it's loosening things.
There's a lot of distractions outside today.
And that's okay, though. I mean, that's part of the joy of the show. But that's also something that I've also appreciated that I think has worked well too. Distraction. Taking those moments, appreciating this, like, I don't know, there's something special about it. Like, that has actually not only reduced my stress level, but I've noticed that it's just helped in general. I'll sleep better.
Your attitude changes everything. Does it help with the pain?
Maybe
your thought process as far as how it goes and how you handle it and how you deal with it and how you don't let it get you down. Yeah, I have chronic pain. You do too with your back.
Yeah.
So I think you have a choice. Are you going to let it get you down? You have a choice how you are going to approach that. Is it you're just going to put up the white flag and be like, I'm done. I can't do anything. It hurts too much. How are you going to approach that? I think attitude plays a huge part in that.
100%. One of the big things that people are into now is like cryotherapy. Right? And
I want to try it.
So I've done it twice, and it's weird. I think the first time was a placebo effect because I was so excited and I did it and I thought I noticed something. I did it again and it didn't really do anything.
So you did do the cryotherapy.
Yeah. Where you go in that, like that ice box or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
See, and Ted's like, that stuff, it's a money grabber. He said it's all placebo. You see people saying, oh yeah, this really works. So then in your head, you're like, oh yeah, it does work, but to each their own, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's part of this process. And I think that's what we're talking about today, is exploring all those things, because it actually may work for you. And there is power of the placebo effect too, right? Like, there's something there. Like, it does help. And I think taking it at your own pace and doing your own stuff to get to that conclusion is the most important thing. And I think the biggest piece of advice that I know we can both give on this is never take no for an answer.
If somebody's like, that doesn't work, don't knock it till you try it. That's all I have to say. It may help you. Give you some relief.
Yeah, everybody's different. That's the thing. That's what's so crazy. We all have different lineages. We all have different backgrounds. Things are going to work differently.
Another thing that I have found that works for me is my TINS machine. We've talked about this before. I put the sticky pads on and the little shocks. That works for me. A
Again,
lot.
that's one of those though that has been around for centuries.
Yep.
They've had different iterations of
Yep.
it, for so long. I have a lot of faith in that it would work for me too. I've used it once years. I think it was even high school when I hurt myself weightlifting. Anyways, it was cool. I love the little vibration feel that you get. That little like little shock thing, and it's pretty neat. And the cool part about those machines is, like you were just saying, you can now get them in your home. It's not like you have to go to a doctor to do it, which is pretty cool.
Well, and they're portable. You can take them with you anywhere.
That's
Ted carries one in his truck at all times. He always has one with him just in case his back is bothering him. So he always has one with him.
That's pretty cool. Now, I have no idea. Like, do you have to plug it in every time? Is it battery powered? Like, how does it
No,
work?
mine's battery powered.
So when you do it, how many sessions can you get on a charge?
Oh, I haven't changed the batteries and I've had it for years.
That is so cool.
I use it a lot, especially like if we travel, have Ted put it on, a couple spots on my back and down my leg, and I'll just go lay down. And most of the times I fall asleep with it on. I think it's pretty relaxing.
It is. It's incredibly, and it's soothing because that little burst of vibration is kind of relaxing. I think it's a whole experience. Like, it's awesome. It's like going to the spa.
If you've ever put it on your legs and then kicked it up and watched your muscles contract with it,
is it weird?
It's pretty crazy.
See, I love that kind of crap. And I'll tell you, same kind of thing that I have found that is still hyped, that is like the latest thing but again, this has been around for, hundreds and hundreds of years. Spa is great, but I would go as far as to say a sauna, a really good sauna with infrared in it. I swear, every time, like for instance, because it has that targeted heat, it's awesome. Went to one over in Katy in December one time, a gift certificate, and they could target certain areas. So like, it's not like specific, but you can say your upper back, your lower back. And I just said, do the whole back. And I think it's 30 minutes you're in there, and you get to set the temperature. So I set it pretty high. I think it was like at 135, something like that. Anyways, and with the heat on the back and everything, and I walked out, I felt like unbelievable. It was incredible. I would love to buy one for the house, but I started looking and they're just so expensive.
Probably. And with my MS, I'm not supposed to overheat my body like that.
So I didn't know. So hang on, this is fascinating to me. So what does that mean? Just heat in general isn't good for it?
Especially like consistent hot is not good for my body. And it's so funny because Ted, when we went to my MS doctor last time, he talks about it and Ted goes, well, can you tell Kim that heat is not good? Take a break. If you are outside, go inside and cool your body down. And so, and then Ted looks at me and he goes, turn to the doctor now. Because I'm a little stubborn. Who would have guessed I was stubborn, right? And yeah, no, heat is not good for my body. Even whenever I was an instructor getting overheated, he would get on to me for that. And he's like, Kim, it's added stress on your body. You cannot overheat yourself like that. So then I put a fan that would face me to help. So did you ever notice that whenever I would come out of the studio, my face was bright red?
Absolutely. Yeah. You couldn't miss it. Yeah.
That was my body trying to get the heat out.
So what about MS makes it that heat is so bad for you? I did not know.
I'm not even for sure, honestly. Okay. But then I know cold bothers it too. If it gets cold and I'm walking, my leg where that foot that drops, it like gets really, really stiff to the point that I can't even hardly bend it. It's ridiculous.
Basically, you need to, this is actually probably a great climate for you, or somewhere in the tropics almost, where it's a pretty steady temperature is ideal for you.
Yes.
Wow, I had no idea.
Well, that's why a lot of people with health issues move to Arizona, because of the temperature that is there, because it's perfect all year round, right?
Most temperate, yeah. But what people forget when I go back and see my mom and stuff is, unlike here, at night it still gets really cold. It can still hit 100 degrees, 110, 115 during the day, but at night it'll go all the way down to like 70s. That's a 35, 40 degree temperature swing.
And being in the desert, it's much colder. I remember that when we lived in Qatar, and at nighttime it was chilly. But then I kind of like the change.
No, it's fun. That's one of the things that I've always loved about going to the desert as a whole is the extremes of everything there. It's cool. I don't know. There's something about it. It's a neat experience.
It is. I got another one for you for pain that I know I have mentioned on this show multiple times. BioFreeze.
See, that's like Voltaren, by the way. So they're similar.
Okay. But BioFreeze and Icy Hot. The BioFreeze spray has a higher menthol percentage, so it works better than Icy Hot. And it also works better than even doing the BioFreeze cream, because the spray has the higher menthol percentage. I had to find that out because I would put it on and then I was like, okay, I'm going to try the icy hot, and nothing.
Is there a reason why I would have more in the spray and not the cream?
I don't have any idea.
Because I remember I've tried, I've tried BioFreeze several times. I do think it works really well. I mean, I've tried it. I guess for me, when I'm recovering from stuff, I tend not to use that stuff, and I probably should because it works.
Yeah, you should. It does. Well, I had like lidocaine prescribed to me from a pain doctor for pain, topical, and I had diclofenac, which is an anti-inflammatory cream prescribed by a doctor that I would rub on. And it does nothing in comparisons to this BioFreeze. BioFreeze is way better than both of my prescriptions.
Well, and part of the problem with, I mean, I don't know about the one, but I know that, lidocaine, basically it just numbs it. So it does nothing to help it. It just numbs it. And that can actually be a million times worse because you can then cause even more inflammation.
Yep. Because then you can hurt it worse.
Yeah, exactly. I think today we've covered quite a few fun subjects and gave people a lot of ideas and experiences. And then as we kind of wrap up here, I mean, my only advice is to whatever works should be for you. Don't keep trying stuff that doesn't work, because in today's world, the neat part about it is you've got a million things to try.
Yes, you do.
Between all these different health sites, between other recommendations, between doctors, you've got a plethora of options out there. And so don't accept no as an answer. Keep pushing and you'll find a solution. Is it going to be 100%? Maybe not, but at least it will make it better.
Well, yes. And drop in the comments. Tell us what you guys use for pain. If we didn't mention it, tell us what you guys use, because maybe we'll give it a shot. Just like Justin said, what works for somebody may not work for the other. So, and we've both experienced that.
And that concludes today's episode of the Fitness
Manifesto. I know you guys enjoyed it.
And Kim, I want to say thank you to you and to our audience for making this podcast what it is.
Yes, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
And stay tuned for the next episode.